Huff a Day Guam. Hello World, the Social Progress Podcast. We're back at it today. Today's topic I'm very excited about is about representation of culture in families through tradition. Something that's very important to me. I think it's also very important for all of us as well to make sure that we keep up with that as well. Excited for our co-host today. What's up, Brent? Huff a Day. Huff a day, huff a day. We're gonna get our co-host in here and get this thing started. Brent, I'll send you a thing after this. Let's see here, y'all. Go ahead and welcome our co-host, everybody. Drop some Guam flags in the comments. Let's get some Guam flag in the comments. Represent. Hi, guys. Thank you. What's up? How's it going?
Hello?
Hey.
Hey. Am I
Hi.
okay?
Huh?
Am I coming through okay?
Yes. How am I doing?
You guys, how are we looking? Because we can't see. I can't see right now.
Yes, yes. Yeah, let us know if you guys can hear some audio and then also if the vision's good too. Yesterday we did a check and I was a little pixelated.
That was funny and it was so close up. That was a really good icebreaker.
Yes, yes. Right now you look you're in the frame though, so you're not too close. Am I okay as well? Am I in the frame or am I?
Yeah, you're good.
Sweet, sweet.
I have my iPad up
Yes.
too.
I know, I
Hi,
love the
Mom.
earrings as
My mom is
well. It's actually from her, Henengi. We're
what's
gonna
for
talk about that. Of course. Hi, Mom. Welcome, Mom. Welcome, everybody. Drop some Guam fags in the comments, guys. I'm a little nervous. Let's get excited about the
Yeah,
conversation. Drop some
that's so
Guam
funny.
flags. Encourage us.
With other videos, and when you start saying drop them bomb flags, and you start getting excited. It's really cool. I like that you do that.
Yeah, yeah. I try to like break the ice, because even me, I be doing it all the time, but sometimes I get nervous. Oh my gosh, so many nice people in here.
Oh, there's my husband.
Hey, Huff a day, everybody. Hello, husband. Hi, Shan. Hi, Dennis.
So, how are you doing?
Good, good. I'm doing great. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. I was excited for today. I was all anxious to get it going already. I even
Me,
like fixed my hair and everything.
when I saw you come on, I was like, "Hey, she's wearing blue."
Yeah. My mom, I actually got a package from my mom and she sent me some of this. I was like, hey, okay. Let me fancy what's this all about.
I
So
really
welcome
like seeing.
everybody. Uh-huh. Yes. Thank you guys all for coming in, for everybody tuning in on both sides. I'm so happy to see a bunch of like 671 and CHamoru people, Huff a Day, everyone stateside. But for but guys, we're just gonna jump into it. So if you guys want to, please utilize, there's a question box down below for any questions that you have for Hinengi. We're gonna be digging deep in this conversation today, amplifying on the traditions and family and culture. So I'm super excited. Um, yes, the earrings. I can't ignore you guys' is statements about the earrings. This is Hanengi itself. We're actually going to be talking about it, but this is one of my I love this piece from her as well, and then this necklace as well is from Hanengi too.
So you know what? I have Sometimes because we're all still learning about who we really are. I have I'm trying to give as many tools as possible to help us have a conversation about who we are. So if you go on to my page, I have a translation tab, and you can go back and see what is
I love that.
and and how it was looked at then and how we're looking at it now, because we want to make a connection. It's easier and it's more natural when we can have a conversation and make that connection to who we really are.
Amen.
Hi
Yes,
guys.
I agree. And thank you so much for sharing that, actually. I actually did see that little tab with all these definitions and sayings. I thought that that was so beautiful. And just for context for everybody, while we're chiming in, that's actually how I met Ange Hinengi. I was searching for Sanahis and I was searching for like Chamorro jewelry, and I really wanted to start representing in my content, in my videos. And so I was referred by, oh, I should have wrote their name down, but they were sold out and stuff, and they said you should check out Hinengi. And then I checked her out, and she was closed. She was out of stock. And then I even almost missed the restock. Like, y'all need to stop playing with me and save me some
Oh, you
things.
must be
You like
so awesome.
it went so fast.
You know what? I always don't know how to react to it because I didn't always want to be a carver. Actually, I didn't even know was going to even carve. Um, but as I was learning from my dad, and I was learning by helping him with the business. I was doing like all his posts in the social media and stuff like that. And so when he'd have something, I'm like, Dad, what does this even mean? And so he'd start talking about the shape and how like the sling stone, right? I've been singing the Fanogi tomorrow since elementary, and I didn't know that the Guam seal was a sling stone shape. To me, it was just the seal of Guam. So it's
Right.
through things like this that we're learning about who we are, and then we can have the conversation with other people and say, this is what this means when they ask about what's that necklace, what does it mean to you.
Wow, yeah. Thank you so much for saying that and leading the conversation actually that way, because it ties in with what I was about to say. It's super important for us to share our cultures and share our traditions, like our healthy traditions and cultures, because there's actually a good comment in here about like not so negative. I'm just gonna say negative tradition as well, which that's a great question and we'll get into too. But I thought it was very perfect that you said it like that, because look at this, something as simple, in and something some like this as like jury, and I love your saying and I love your thing on your website and what you always say, let us be storytellers
Mhm.
through wearable art. And so can you talk a little bit about just kind of like the story behind that saying?
Yeah, honestly, when I say that, and I even designed it so that when you open up the box, it starts the experience. Um, I say that so that it can encourage you to, it kind of like sets the atmosphere for you to have that connection between you and our heritage, our ancestry. And that's what I really want to encourage is the more we can talk about it and have the conversation, the better. And what better way than just something as simple like this. We're just walking around, someone's like, "Ooh, cool necklace or cool earrings." Like, "Oh yeah, this is actually for this tells a story about who I am, about my culture." So
Yes.
may we be storytellers of who we are as a people through wearable art. Is I'm providing an opportunity, yeah, to talk about,
Right.
and that's the main
Yes.
objective, really.
Yes. And you know what? I mean, I was really so happy, and I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but now's the best time as ever, being that we're holding conversation on the podcast. But I was just so happy to get in touch with so many different people who were creatives, and they were connecting our culture, because for the longest time, when I first came out here to the States, it was all fun and things. I was young, so I was like exploring, experiencing. But but that faded away really, really quickly. And I started getting mahalang for home. I started like missing family. I started missing culture and tradition. It's very, very different from back on the island just because we're so family oriented. We're so close together. So, man, I get emotional up to this day because even the content and my image and just my message online, I want I'm always going to be promoting awareness and awareness and wellness, but I also want to incorporate culture, family, sticking to who we are. So, as an example as well, because I love how you said that when you open the box, because it's always true, guys. When I opened the box, I was like, oh my God. I felt like I just like got a piece of home like in me, right? So just as an example to explain to everybody that doesn't already know, can you tell us a little bit about this piece?
That's the Gumatulati earrings, which is the Guam hut. And it's my version, it's a modern version of us. And when I wear this, it makes me proud of my culture. Like, hey guys, look, this is what we used to live in. And look at us, we're doing good. We're strong people, always the hardest working one in the room. You know what I mean? We talked about that, the other day. We take a lot of pride in our hard work. And
Yes.
having that, seeing that laddie and the foundation and where we came from, it's a good reminder about who we are, and it tells people that, hey, I'm CHamoru, and I'm the hardest
Right, exactly.
hard worker.
Yes.
Our work
I
speaks for itself.
Yes, and I love that, and I feel like it's so important, right? Because again, like I was saying, like I'm still figuring out my voice too, right? I mean, I'm super passionate in the youth, right? In the young people, like in the generation, like in the next generation. And the more older I get, and I started realizing this as I started like growing, the more older I get, like the more important like it becomes to me, especially for the young people. And I look at it like, whatever we're doing, it's being created, and we're creating a platform for the next, right? And so I always felt like this deep need to make sure that they were good and that we leave our land, our place, the earth, better than we had it for them. And I think that right now is just as good a time as ever for everybody to just kind of like come together and really share each other, work with each other's crafts and all these different creatives to amplify the story, right? Because we all have our own individual, like specific thing that we love to do. But could you imagine if we all worked to, and I'm like so excited because I was working on the other stuff that I'm doing right now, and I really want to be a platform that can host, all different type of cultures, creatives, and just continue to spread like the good message.
That's so awesome. Um, I feel like my dad is here with us, like his spirit is here, because I was listening to his one of his videos on YouTube, and wait, I got it.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyways, my dad was saying, and I didn't hear this the last time when I watched it. Um,
It was like divine testimony for you to hear that though, and it's such a beautiful thing. And this is like we're changing like the culture, and we're like changing the narrative right here, guys. We're creating a new avenue, and I'm just so grateful and thankful that I can be a part of this conversation.
yeah, so my dad said in the video, and I have this link on under my Guahan Heritage Carvings tab. My dad was saying that he was preparing for Festpac, and he was saying that some of the best artists in the world come from the Pacific. And he's like, and so Festpac is all the best artists from the Pacific coming together to share the art and tell about who we are. It's like it was just so, you kind of just said what my dad said. And he's like, can you imagine if we all come together, what we can do?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, so I can't tell you how much I love to support other Chamorro people, and I really wish that there was more in FMLA in the atmosphere, with the art, because we're all Chamorro people. We're all the people of the Pacific, all one Micronesia. It's, can you imagine when we come together? Man, we can do big things.
Right. Wow. Man, I thank you so much. For just being so open and so vulnerable. And I was getting goosebumps when you're saying that. And I'm just going to go ahead and be open to an unpopular opinion, right? And I just want everybody to know that I work to create a community and an atmosphere of openness and honesty. The fact is that all of us come from different places, different areas. We all have different perspectives, different ideas, right? But I want to create a space that even if there's a difference, we still come together, because that's where true change is going to happen.
Yeah.
And you saying about your dad doing that, it's just divine testimony for you to say that, and God put that in the timeline for you to say that and for me to receive that. Because let me tell you, Ange, and everybody in here as well, like, I'm going to get really vulnerable as well. I really have been trying to find a way to find my voice. Like I said again, for the longest time I felt like, my voice was like there, right? But it was like so distant. And I was so caught up on all these things that I thought I enjoyed and I thought I wanted, but there was still something like, at the back of my mind, that it didn't feed my soul. Like, I was having fun, I was making money, I was like just like having the blast, right? Exploring, experiencing, but it wasn't feeding my soul in a way that I felt that I needed to. And mark my words, everybody here, I am going to be yet another platform on top of whatever other resources and creatives out there that bring all types of people together to amplify our message, who we are as a people. And you know what? It's good that you actually mentioned that, because I tell people all the time, man, stateside, y'all got to go back to Guam, because Guam needs to teach y'all a thing or two about community, about culture, about trust, about taking care of one another. It doesn't matter, like, if we don't know you or whatever the case is, we're going to invite you in. It's just such a family and like a caregiving like feeling and setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
That's a lot. But
Yeah.
Guam too, and not only Guam, the other Micronesian islands too. We're really looking up to them to help support us. Don't, because we're stateside, don't shoot us down. We're hungry to know more about ourselves, and we're hoping that you would tell us. Share the information.
Yeah.
We want to know. We want to know more about us. Some of us can't be home. Um, like me, I can't be home because we don't have the specialist for my kids. I have to be here,
Mm.
and but I want to know more. My
Yes.
my husband and how can we be okay with being out here, because we have to be so far away from home. And so what we did is we started exploring Washington, and we started going on adventures and seeing what Washington really has to offer. And once we started doing that, we really started to love Washington. We're like, wow, when the sun comes out, it's so green here. It's so beautiful. It's nothing like home. I miss home so bad. I can't
Yeah.
say how much we want to come home.
Yeah.
We even buried my dad, but we couldn't do that because of we're all gonna go this summer, but we couldn't go because of quarantine.
Right.
So
Man, I was supposed to go last year around summertime and in the middle of summertime and the holidays, but I didn't as well because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so I had to make sure, right? Because a lot of people were like, just come and you can like stay home or whatever and do the whole stay. It's not about us though. It's about the people out there in the hospitals, the nurses, the doctors, the grocery stores that are overloaded right now. And I'm so glad. So before we continue on, put for butt, guys, oh my gosh, we just like went off the script here, which is good because this is the real conversation. Like we're talking. So please use the airplane icon down below to share this live to anybody that can make it on there, so that way they can get in on this conversation as well. But man, dude, like thank you for saying that because we're all mahalang, right? And you know what? I was actually speaking with somebody from back home, and I said, man, it's like not to say the people that are still on Guam, our families that are still on Guam can't come out to the States, but it kind of like hits a soft spot when I see more and more and more and more people leaving. And it's just like, and
Yeah.
it's like, who am I to say that, right? Because I'm out here. It's like, well, only you can be in the States, bro. Like, what's going on? Like, no, Chalu, like, it really like, man, like more and more. And I understand, right? Resources, opportunities, so many different things that the States has to offer. But a part of my platform and a part of what I hope to do and a part of what you are doing as well through your art and your work and just the conversations you're holding is encouraging one another for all of us to really come together, put our creatives together. And man, we need some Chamorro specialists over there. We need, more Chamorro hospitals. We need some more Chamorro, all these resources that we migrate somewhere else to get. So that way, hopefully, even if it's a mini one prim right there, on the beach, like we have it, the important stuff.
Yeah, I remember my uncle Anthony uh, at it when they came out here. He was just we're just catching up. We had I think one day with them as they were passing through. He said, "You don't want to use your skill back home." I was like,
Yeah.
"I wish, man."
Yeah, my dad says that to me all the time, man. I felt like when I first left, my dad always used to try to convince me like, why don't you stay back home and work with the kids back here? There's kids back here. They need what you have back here. And I always would tell him school, 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 school. And now he's, of course, grown into it. So he always just, whenever I vent to him, tell him I'm having a rough time with school or with work, he says, Nan, just get as much as you possibly can because when you come back, you're going to start using it over here. Even if you didn't, get your degree yet, or even if you didn't get this position in your job yet, you went through that every day and you gained those experience. And anything that you can offer is better than nothing for the people back here. And oh my god. Literally, guys, this is totally off script, man. But good conversation. And Ange, I would love to continue the conversation with you and anybody else in here as well that enjoys what we're talking about. So put for butt. Everybody stay tuned and stay towards the end so that we can share each other's platforms and each other's contact. So that way we can keep the conversation going. But again, like we were talking about earlier, you're saying I think it's so beautiful and I love it. Can you tell us a little bit about your business and how it came about?
My business is Hinengi, which was a collection from Guahan Heritage Carvings. When my dad was carving, I was always looking for something a little bit more dainty, and my dad's style was really masculine. So I um, I told my mom, I said, I want to wear our culture, but I'm not finding something that I like. And so I engineered these earrings, actually, these laddie earrings. And then I
I mean,
if she would invest in me. I'm like, what do you think about this? Do you like it? Do you think that people would like it too? And so I told my dad, I said, Dad, I think this would go really well with some of your necklaces. So he told me do it. And he was really sick at the he was in and out of the hospital already at this time, so I never really got to learn. I didn't have the interest in carving specifically. um I was more interested in the story about us, and helping my dad to put his work out there, because I was just so amazed by it. I'm like, Dad, people need to really know about this. And it
Yes.
was received really well on social media, and we just went with it. And my dad, even when we did our first live sale, he was like, wow, everything sold. I'm like, yeah, Dad, people can't, you can't just get this anywhere. And so it was really helping my dad that I started to really be hungry for, to know who I was. It's just simple things like, wow, I didn't know about this, the sling stone, the sanahi, the laddie stone. These were just things that I saw growing up, but I didn't know the meaning of these things. And so,
Right.
and through the wearable art, we're teaching each other, talking about it more, having that conversation, and telling others about it. I don't know, I was just always so amazed by the stories my dad would share with me.
Right.
So that's how I started. I started with just 10 of these. I sold them, and my dad is really in, all the pieces that he used to make were, he called them storyboard pieces. He wanted all his stuff to he loved having a story behind it every time. He wanted to always talk about it. And so that's how he sold his work, was telling the story that goes along with the necklace. And we tell it to everyone. When you go up to his booth, he will tell you about what this thing means. It's not just selling a necklace. So that's how that came to be, and I started doing that too. And I think that my dad loved his culture, and he taught us to love it too. I just can't get enough of it, and I want to follow what my dad was doing. He had it right. And my family, you see it in my family's, what we do in every day. Everything we do is for our culture that we learned from my dad.
Yes. I love that, and I could appreciate that, because I like how you said, that everything you guys do, it's just following him because it was right, and I think a part of me, like, on a different timeline, 'cause when I came out, and I'm just a single person, so at first I came out with my brother and my mom, and then we eventually and we went our own way. And so a part of that, it was like, I feel like when I first came out here, I was misguided, and I kind of like strayed away from the culture, strayed away from the family. It was only when I would get in touch with my family out here, but then again, it became to be like a thing where we weren't always together, and that's what I want to change. I want to change that, and I want to keep connection, because I think that it's safe to say that all of us can say that, in between our own personal families. And of course, we have life and work and everything that we do. But I just think it's so important for us to keep in touch, especially because all of us are like, coming out of the States. And it's not like we can just pull up like, skirt, Prim, what are you doing? Like, oh, I got to take a flight to you, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm. Even 30 minutes is too far. My dad really, really taught that to us too. It was all about family. And he says, if there's no one else, you guys have each other. And so there's six of us. There's five girls and one boy. My brother's in, his wife, and all of us girls are here. So we have my mom here too with us. And we just have each other, and we teach our kids that you have your cousins. You're not by yourself. You have your cousins. Reach out to your cousins. We want them
yes.
to be close. We let them fight.
Yeah, for real. Like, y'all gonna fight, and then you guys gonna be good after. Wow, and with that being said, and I think that that's so amazing, and thank you so much. I just want to personally thank you for not only taking the interest and wanting to know more of like the storytelling side of things and learn more about the culture, as you started your journey and as you continue your journey as well. I think that that's super important, and there needs to be more of us that, telling the story and amplifying just the narrative of what we're going through. And with that being said, with business and culture, and I just love how you said that when somebody walks up to your dad's booth, he's not just like, okay, I'm gonna sell you these things, like I want to tell you about it. What kind of like advice would you tell other young people who want to go into business as well? Because I think that message in the business side is a very important thing to know, right? It's like, okay, create your business, make your money because you're working hard for it, but what does it represent? What's the message in there? So do you have anything that you can say to anybody who's like a young like entrepreneur?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind first, um, uh, really is your finances. You want to make sure that you're financially stable, because you're going into this, from a business perspective, you're going into this with the intention to make money. You don't want to be responsible from the start, with your finances, and that's something that even I am working on. But I can look back now and tell you that that's the very first thing that you wanna look at. Also, too, what kind of integrity, as a Chamorro? What's your integrity like with your brand? Does it matter to you if you're selling something cheap, or are you trying to sell something really about our culture? We don't want to sell somebody um, something about our culture and misguide them. The conversation is to talk about who we are and get the story right. So, yeah, integrity is everything. Yeah, to me it was, and especially being in the medical field, it's all about integrity. It's just you and the nurse. Who knows what the nurse could do, or you and the doctor. It's all about
Yeah,
um.
yes. Thank
So yeah, aside from that, passion, the passion, you want to make sure that that's there, and you have you take care of yourself, because you don't want to burn yourself out on the passion. You lose the passion, and then you just give off the whole wrong message.
Wow. Yes, thank you for saying that. That helped me as well personally with everything that I'm doing, right? Because I always try like my platform, I always want to be a voice of self-development and like realness, right? Because especially on social media and just this new age and all the young people, social media has a specific like I guess expectation and like vision of what we should look like, how we should look like when we're doing these specific things. And I want to amplify like we're not going to be perfect, and it's not always going to be right, and no negative or downplaying to anybody out there as far as whatever your creative as well, but I always try to make sure that the messages that I'm amplifying, it's something not only helpful to myself first and foremost with the passion and taking care of yourself portion, but also for everybody else, making sure that what we're saying, is healthy for the overall internet. But speaking of we want to get the story right, right? So I think like this conversation, it's just being guided like from a higher thing right now compared to like our just but it's amazing. So another like thing that we can disagree upon is like all of us have a different idea of what tomorrow is, right? All of us have a different idea about what the culture is, and there's all these little parts to it, right? but sometimes when somebody gets a thing wrong or like says a wrong word or whatever, it's always like backlash on it, man. So how do you feel, like what kind of positive advice can you give us as far as like what I was saying earlier? We're gonna have like different ideas or whatnot, but like you said, we want to like have the right
Yeah,
explanation or
first
message
thing
through it.
that what I think is important is that, especially in a time like this where we're trying to learn about who we are, we need to be open to the conversation so that we can collect the information and put it together and decipher what's right and what's wrong and who we really are and make that more concrete. So we just need I would say to be more open about having the conversation,
Open-minded.
having different opinions. It's okay that we have different opinions. Let us talk about it. It's really cool because every time I'm looking up information and I look at the Mega Haga, they talk about the women who were the decision makers, and so it's because the women would talk about it. They talk about what was going on and make the decision. So that's what we want to do. That's what I think of when it comes to women empowerment, is really coming together and sharing our ideas, being open to different things, different forms of artistry, to say that this is who we are.
Yes. And not only that, another important part I think of coming together, holding the conversation, and having Jody said bucket power. I love that. Um, but a part of holding the conversation as well is for us, right? Like the people that are here now, to create a new, right? To take the tradition, the realness, the togetherness of the ancient, the ancestral ways, or how our family, our parents used to do it, and create, add into the story.
Mhm,
Right, as the new generation, the next gen, add into the story and continue to like build it and grow it.
mhm.
I just can't. Everybody, y'all. Yes, I love, if y'all love the conversation and the topics we're having right now, hit that airplane icon down below. Throw some Guam flags into the comments, some hibiscus into the comments. I always try to do this because I get so nervous and get excited about it, but and I know we're just holding conversation, but I want to talk with everybody that's in here as well, which we'll get onto that with the questions. So if anybody just got in, please use the question box down below if you have any specific questions for Hinengi or any comments about the things that we're talking about as well. And then for anybody just chiming in, I actually pin Hinengi's website where you can find more information in regards to her business and just the story that she's creating. Puff butt, please go check it out. Into to dig deeper into all the good stuff. Speaking of you, finding yourself and helping your dad, which I'm so grateful that you had that opportunity. And a vulnerable part in my life as well is I always regretted not, being in the kitchen with my grandma, because my grandmother was a cook. Right? She was a cook at the elementary school, and she was just in general in life. She always loved, making CHamoru food. And I really wish that I stuck around in the kitchen and helped out more and to learn more recipes and to learn more, just about it, because food is something that brings us all together, right, as a whole. Um, so with that being said, and I wish that I stuck around with that, if you could tell your teenage self one thing, what would that be?
Hold on, because
Yeah.
I want to make sure that
Have a day, everybody. Welcome in, y'all. Real conversation here. The Social Progress Podcast, guys. I'm so happy to see everybody. Henenge in the building.
Um, you know what? I wanted to, because I'm so forgetful, I wanted to make type some things down and just to make sure I touched on those points. Business wise, are you asking me business wise or personal wise?
Just personally, if like you could tell your if you could tell your younger self one thing as like from what you know today, if you knew like what you know today, okay, I'm mixing it all up, y'all. Here we go. No, but if you could just from everything that you know today, if you could tell your teenage self that some of those that you didn't know before, what would some of those like just general, if anything, as far as like with family wise, sticking around and learning things, because like I said, when I said with myself as well, I wish I stuck around with my grandma to learn, about her recipes and her cooking. I wish my grandpa taught me, some of his work that he did as well. He was always making something, he was always fixing something. Like, we always used to laugh because even down to his boots, he would take like the little tiny rope, and if it was ripping, he would fix it. But like when I think about that, it makes me sad now because it really amplifies the fact that he had to make his own shoes, his own shirt. He had to fix it when there was a hole in it. He had to go and fix, the machete when it broke somehow off of the materials that he had, lying around in the house, or, something from a coconut tree or whatever the case is. But just overall, in general, advice.
You know what? I listening to your stories. The first person that comes to my mind is my mom, and my mom has always been the money maker. She was always the breadwinner for our family, and there's six of us. My dad was able to do his work because my mom was working. My mom worked retail at the Navy Exchange. She worked her way from the bottom up, and my mom was a very hard worker. She was always working. And so we always, still up to now, we don't want my mom to work, but she wants to do something. Like, Mom, you worked so hard all these years. If I can tell my younger self something, because I don't, my parents blessed us with such awesome life experiences. That's the treasure that my parents provided for us, is life experiences. And if I could tell my younger self anything, wouldn't be to change anything actually. It would just really be to show my mom more affection. My mom has always been working so hard for us. She worked so hard for all of us. We had everything we needed, and she was just always working. So it'd just be to show my mom more affection.
Right. Wow. I'm just gonna throw like all the questions out the window, and we'll just continue the, the man. No, really, I just Joni, right, man? Like, oh my gosh, like I just thank you very much, and I'm sorry, I probably like I should have been more clear with my question, but a part of the message that I want to amplify in the platform is all of us, older ones, whatever ages that we are, to share our experiences and our mistakes
Mm-hmm.
and our testimony so that way the ones after us can find that, they can utilize that. I always tell my nieces and my nephews or whoever, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I want to share this with you
Mm-hmm.
because when you're out there and you're confused or you're wondering, or when you're leaving your house and you're not spending time with your grandma in the kitchen and learning these recipes that are going to soon be, implemented into your life when you're older, you think about those things and you realize, oh man, guys, I'm going to go home and I'm just going to hang out like, with my grandma. And man, and for the longest time, that was always my guilt. And
Heidi.
Social Progress Podcast, y'all. Real conversation, guys. Real conversation, real testimony. But for the longest time, my whole 20s, it always strained me, man. Every time I got so mahalang, I got even more deeper into the feeling because I always wished for that, right? I always missed that, and I always thought about that, and up to the point where one memory that I have is that, when my grandma took us to the mall, right? And she was already older. She was already like in her 60s. And I was so excited to be in the mall that I was walking faster than her. And man, if I could just, if I could take some time, I'll take my time walking, I will take my time to walk around and move at her pace. And I'm so ashamed to say that, man, but man, I'm so proud of myself because this past 10 years, being a young adult in my 20s, I always hid that, right? I always was like, man, how could you do that? But whew, half a day, everybody. Thank you guys.
A lot. And you know, it really helps when we can talk about it without judgment.
Yes.
So thank you
Yes.
for sharing that. Um, when you talk about that, it makes me laugh because um, my dad was here in Washington because he had heart failure. When you have heart failure, your heart is basically slowly dying, and um, and so he would walk so slow. And when we're walking, we're like, Dad, oh my gosh, you need a Segway or a hoverboard. And he'd be like, Maria, I'm like, okay, next time I'm gonna bring skates and I'm just gonna tie a rope around your waist and pull you. Laugh. We always make jokes about my dad because he just would walk so slow, but that was my family. We always had jokes going on. Um, so
Yes.
I hope you can find good in that memory and the humor, and to keep that memory alive, embrace it.
Right. And you know what? There actually is a humor in that memory really quick is that whenever we would like start walking fast or whatever, because my grandma eventually she was on a cane, she would pull. I'll put it in the shopping cart. Oh, no, what about I wanted to say, but I was like, I'm not gonna say, but I guess I'm just gonna say like even the wheelbarrow we could use. we they always have wheelbarrow.
That would be so fun. We did a drill with my dad when in a wheelchair, and we tried to push him down the street. We were pushing him so fast just to see. We're like, Dad, this is a drill, and he's like, oh, you're torturing me. It's just we just always used to play pranks on my dad. He did that so bad to us growing up.
Man, and you know what? I think that that's just a part of our culture too, right? Laughing and jokes and being happy, right? Because when I think about home and I think about my uncles when I was younger, I was sensitive, right? So I'll be like, come on, Kati, like but then they'll come, right? And they're like, hey, I'm just kidding. You want to laugh a little bit about life or what? Like,
Yeah,
but I
my dad.
think that all of us,
I love it. I love it when we can get together and laugh. Um, my sister Ruby's in here, and that just made me think of my auntie Cindy, who's from Talafofo, and she is loud. She loves to be loud, and so my sister was like, "Hey, Auntie Sin, I know your best friend, who's another lady who's really loud." She's, and you just think of them being loud and fun and getting together and just laughing at anything.
man, I can understand that because even with my mom and her sister as well, when me and my cousin, right, our first cousin, we were young and they used to be laughing so loud at anything, ha 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 ha, and then we would get so embarrassed, right? But now me and my and they hit each other, and we're like, are you fighting? Are you laughing? Are you okay? Like, what's good? Do we need to call grandma? But now me and my cousin and all of us, we do the same thing, dude. And I'm like, your day traditional going down the generation.
We were going
Oh
down
man.
the hospital. hospital hallway when went to see my dad for Christmas, and we were making so much noise going down the hallway, just telling everybody shh, shh, shh. We're doing it all the way down the hallway. It was so.
Man, and that's so important, man. It's so great. And I'm so grateful that we can all just sit here and talk memories and share laughing and, just see just us having this conversation, holding this conversation, and everybody in the comments as well. We're all just enjoying each other, which is so amazing. Um, I wanted to, before we get off, I wanted you to share a little bit more about your platform and where we can all find you and all of that great stuff and get some questions in. So guys in the comments, but if you guys are feeling what we're saying, put it in the question box. Tell us how you guys are feeling. Tell us, write a little short memory of you and your family when you guys were laughing at each other too, whatever the case is. And in the meantime as well, I had one more question for you that I thought that was very important that we had on our slide there. And again, I always try my best, just like you do as well with your business, to spread awareness, right? And to spread the importance of our culture and just the conversation. Um, why do you think that it's important for us, in your own creative way, to continue to keep on spreading the culture, spreading the condition, the traditions, and continuing to just hold the conversations in any different aspects or ways?
When I think about that, culture to me is like the life lessons and the traditions that we learn growing up, and so it's like our from our ancestors down to all the way down to our parents, that now to me, and I'm passing it down to my kids. That's culture, and it's the Chamorro culture that we learned, and practicing that every day. That's the culture that we have, and it tells the story about who we are. We see Chamorros, like, yeah, it's so funny because we always we leave our jewelry at the door as a Chamorro party or Chamorro rosary when all the jewelry's at the door. Just different things that we share as being Chamorros. That culture, the tradition, the lessons that were passed down, and they tell about who we are. You can
Yes.
outsider come to a Chamorro house and you can be like, oh my gosh, they're so disrespectful, because that's not their culture. This is our culture. The things that we do every day tell a story about who we are, right?
Yes. Thank you. Yes, so that future generations are remembered and treasured. Amen. Thank you very much. Um, Man, I've been like trying to write notes here on my laptop as much as I possibly can and take this all in because this is just applying to so many areas right now in my personal life. And so again, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you holding space for us to be here. And before we get into any of the questions in the question box, or if anybody has questions in the comments here, um, my whole thing is social progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the definition to social progress is just basically providing the resource and the materials that people need for their well-being.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that be, emotionally and mentally, financially, however the case is. And to me, when I think of wellness, when I think of well-being, I always feel the need. When I think of where I'm at right now, it's so far from where it should be. And I always just feel the need to make sure that we put taking care of ourselves, loving one another's, and being a positive impact and just person to the world and everybody out there. Of course, we're not always going to be positive. We're not always going to be strong enough, but amplifying that within ourselves so
Mm-hmm.
that other people can see that too and help us when we're feeling down. Um, what would you say you can do in your everyday life to promote just overall social progress as a whole?
Um, the first thing that always comes to mind, because I'm a spiritual person, um, is really to just is to pray about it first, because it's um, there's a plan and a purpose for us. You know, I truly believe that. That's why the name of my business is called Hinengi. Hinengi means faith, and so that uh, ties into everything that I do. I even prayed and I posted that um, right before I came on because I was so nervous. Um, and The way that I move life forward is really to pray first and have faith and hope in what I'm believing for. So that's really what molds me. Hope I answered
Yes.
your question.
To pray for, no, yes, it definitely does. And see, that's like the unforgotten part of our wellness, right? Prayer. It's like I feel like with God and with prayer specifically as a topic, a lot of us have shied away from sharing our testimony and being clear and upfront and forward about praying and God, about God in general, because where the world has moved with it, we've taken God out of our schools, we've taken God out of, our laws, we've taken God out of our communities. And I just want to also amplify, with me, it's not about any specific religion. With me, it's really about relationship.
Yeah.
When I was younger and I was growing up, it was always religion, 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 right? And that's okay. That's what that was. I learned from that. But my grandmother always said it wasn't about any specific way. It doesn't matter what it is you're going through, as long as you talk with God and you have a conversation and a relationship with Him, that's where it's all at. And so that definitely does answer that, because you know what? I thank you for sharing that. And I'm gonna make myself look vulnerable. And again, I'm a mal out to say this, but that's a beautiful thing to pray for, before you come on, because I need to be doing that as well. When it comes to the work stuff like this, sometimes when I'm getting ready for the live, I get so tunnel vision and so zoned in, making sure everything's right, making sure I'm prepared. And I need to just, that's important to just step back and pray for that, because like you said before we got on live, when you said that may this conversation be used, for something that's bigger than us, for something that's bigger than whatever it is we're talking about. And that that's just so important, because if there's anything that's been helping me through the hardest and hardest of times, where I was just wanted to give up, or I just didn't believe, or whatever case, it was always my relationship with God. It was always Him bringing me through. And that's another thing that I'm working towards incorporating into my overall creativity online, is testimony. It's not about me telling you what to do. It's not about me pulling out a Bible verse to say to you to make sure you're doing this thing right. I want to tell you how it helped me.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for that. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't tell you how much I've really grown. Um, you actually how much you've grown on me. I really learned a lot from you since you first asked me to be on, and so much time has passed. And I just watch your interviews and see what you're doing, and it takes it takes a lot from you. You have to be completely vulnerable and transparent in order to be organic in giving the experience and helping somebody else. So thank you for doing that. I bet it, yeah, you really have to have faith through it that I'm the vessel. Use me. Use me. Let me do the work for you. To say who we for God and for our people, our culture, to say, you know, man.
Yes, thank you. And I know that it's such great conversation. We just keep going back and forth with it, but honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I really truly, like, literally deep in my corazon, I just want to tell you that I appreciate you saying that, because it's hard. And I think that now that we're online a lot and with this pandemic, we need to understand that when somebody puts out a poem, when somebody puts out a quote, when somebody puts out a video, when somebody creates, an earring piece, to really amplify that. And it draws back to like what I was saying earlier and what you said your dad said. Could you imagine if, I supported my cousin and my auntie and my friend that I met, on Instagram with everything that they're doing, all this amazing stuff. And it all draws back to, again, this is totally off topic, but, for me personally, I feel like I've invested a lot of my time, my energy, putting in my money into like these big stores, that we have available to us, which is understandable, right? That's what's available. But it just amplifies about supporting your friends and their creativity. It just amplifies supporting the local creators and just the local community in general. And again, you don't understand how much when I say that I'm still working to find my voice, and it's a tough thing to do. But again, God has pulled me through, and everything that you guys see, whether it's with the youth, whether it's with my personal stuff, it's all divine anointing from God Himself. So, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody in the comments. Um, thank you again,
Hi.
Hinengi. Yes. I just before we go, share your web. I have your website pinned down below, so for anybody Pufobut, please screenshot it. So y'all gotta watch out for the next restock because it goes pretty quick. And also, y'all give me some time to get up in there, man. Everything goes so fast, so make sure that you subscribe to Henengi's. I know you have like an email newsletter that you do on your email, or well, you could talk about all of that. Tell us where
Yeah,
to find you,
you can
what you're
find
doing.
on most of the platforms. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I have my website, which is www.hinengi.com. And the way that I run my business is I have to do a restock. And every time I restock, I'll put the release date on, the restock date on. And I like to recommend that everyone sets an alarm because some of the pieces go way faster than I can even change the status. And I'm trying my hardest to put more out, but I don't want to do that so much that I sacrifice the integrity of my work. So I'm trying really hard to find a better workflow while still keeping the quality of my work. Right now, I'm having a really hard time because my baby's so agugwat. But yeah, I'll be in the shop again, and just watch for my restock date. And I'm always available to answer any questions. I might not get to it right away because of the baby, but I will get to you.
Yeah,
Oh, can I say one more thing?
of course.
I want
Girl, after all this conversation, you put my butt.
um, I wanted to give a shout out to my husband, Jai Payet, and say I love you 24/7. And my son Cohen, he's engineers on TikTok. He's got some good music stuff going on. My boy's always making music, and he's such a good boy. He helps us watch crew when our schedules are not quite lining up. And then crew needs to just give his mom a break. But thank you, everyone, and thank you to everyone who has supported me, especially since day one. I didn't, I didn't know that it would come to this, and it's just been such a journey. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate all of you. I'm always shocked every time my stuff goes, and it makes me sick to my stomach when I'm about to release it. And then when it's received well, it's just such an overwhelming experience. I can't tell you how much I really appreciate that you guys even consider my stuff. Um, but thank you, everyone.
Yes, of course. Thank you. And I appreciate, again, I appreciate you creating the craft, spreading the culture and spreading the stories and, the definition behind Chamorros through your art. Pufabot, keeping going, regardless of how it is, if you have to keep on doing your little restocks. I like it that, you do it that way anyways, because like you said, you don't want to take away, from doing too much. And actually, I'm also trying to figure out that with, the content that I'm creating as well, because I always try to keep in touch, keep up with the algorithm and just like what everybody else is doing. And I'm just like, man, I can't do that. So it's like when you get it, you get it. If not, not. Like
Yeah.
if y'all know if it's good enough for you and if it's important to you, the people will find you. The people will come and the people will listen.
You're doing great things. I'm really so proud of you. I can't tell you how much it means to me, especially as a parent, to have someone like you putting out content and being there for the kids, and providing them that information, because sometimes when an adult is telling them, they just think it's BS. And to have
Yeah.
younger telling them that this is really, your parents are right, or you guys need to align with this so that you can get your life right, so that you can be successful. And so having that platform and giving them that information, that resource, is very important. And I thank you so much. You're doing great.
Amen. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. Again, guys, Puffabut, if you guys want to screenshot the website down below, don't forget the www in there like I did. I'm so used to just writing the thing out as well. And if you guys enjoyed this conversation, Puffabut, consider tapping I think there should be like a reminder button up above for the next time I go on live as well. And then if it's okay with you, Hinengi, like you said earlier, if anybody has any questions, I don't know if you want to make yourself available, but if anybody has any questions just about the culture, if anybody has any questions about home, if anybody wants to cry like me and just be like, oh, I miss home, and we could be mahalang together, like message Hinangi, check her out, and let's talk about these things.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always available.
I'm sorry. Oh, I don't want to miss. We actually have one question come into the chat box. So we'll cover the if we let me see here. So is it okay if we answer this one question we have here?
Mhm.
I'm like talking about the chat box, guys. I'm so invested in the conversation, and then I just forgot. And then somebody said, I'll be glad to take crew. I will be glad to take him too if y'all need a break because I saw him and he's so cute.
Oh man, he's ugly. He's into everything right now. My house is a disaster. Like, man, um, I can't stand.
Yeah.
How can you separate yourself from family that are toxic or are stuck in tradition? That's really hard, because in the Chamorro culture, our family is everything, and it's very sensitive. So sometimes you just need to allow space between you, and it needs to be communicated that you need space, or and yeah, you just need a little bit of space. And it's nothing. I mean, sometimes it's very sensitive, right? Because of the way our culture is. You can't sometimes you can't just say it. It's gonna
Right.
it's gonna be disastrous. But
Yeah.
allow yourself to have the space to really process through your emotions first. Because sometimes Chamorros have bad attitude, like me. We get high really right away. So we need to practice on taking a breath and taking a step back, so that we can make um, we can make really good decisions for ourselves. So that's the first thing that I would say. Speaking from a Chamorro um, perspective, because um, so I want to tell you. I don't know. Do we have a little bit of time?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so you know, growing up, my dad was he was very strict, and we couldn't just say anything. If you say something, sometimes in the Chamorro culture, if you say it after someone says something, then yeah, he gets mad. But you have to allow you have to allow the respect. Give them respect of having a little bit of time so that you can think about how you want to express yourself um, in a true way and express your true feelings. But you need the time first to allow our emotions to settle. Yeah, no talking back. You get smacked,
Mhm.
but that time really does make a difference.
I'm grabbing everything. Can I tie into that as well? Can I add on to that?
Mm-hmm.
So that was from Alicia, and she's out here in the States, right? So tying
Mm-hmm.
into it from a Chamorro's perspective, and then just culture in general perspective, I think what it is, it is hard, right? Because speaking from my culture, like Ange said, it's hard because, you know, in our culture, it's just like respect your elders, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a thing where, like, you know, I know this, but if I can be honest and share, you know, it used to be like that. Like, for example, with my mom and I's relationship, right? She's like, no, 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 nothing. And she's like finding the next thing. And I just say this jokingly. It's not serious. This is all love. I appreciate the discipline and the the balas and whatever came to me, because it really, it put whipped me into shape as a decent human being, right? And like being respectful to other people. But I think now that times are changing and just, you know, everybody's evolving, and we're talking more just like about mental health awareness and our emotions and communicating, and amplifying communication. I think what Anne said, yes, you know, give each other time, give each other space, so that way you want to think of how you can um approach the conversation in a way that the other people are going to understand it, but also holding to what you feel and speaking on it, because it is important to hold conversation and say what you feel. And like I was reflecting with my mom's relationship, my auntie, she's in here, and my uncle, probably they're laughing because they know, like they're taking, I don't know, aquaphor. You go, God, what you say it, go ahead, you got the floor. And it's all love. But no, eventually my mom, when I started expressing myself in a clear way to her, she said, you know what, that makes sense that, you know, I'm talking loudly because, you know, I believe in what I'm saying, or it seems like you have a coconut head and I need to say it louder to get it in you. But I understand, like, you feel that specific way. It's hard with Chamorros, dude, because they'll be like, mental health awareness, cause just let me hug you and like then throw you again. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, communication and just being clear and being honest, being mindful, to, instead of like dig yourself, I guess, deeper, to kind of just be like, maybe I'm hurting. That was a great question. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody in the comments. I don't know, whoever, I got like two notifications that somebody's trying to jump in. I think there's two people at a time, but we can talk again. Message all of us. I will go ahead and tag Henengi's page on this video, as well as share the website again. Henengi, I just want to again say, Ange, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. We have actually been trying to get this going for the longest time, and I had to give you some time and space, but I appreciate that it took us this while, because it built up to all these like real conversations and just, you know, the continuation of it. So thank you so much. I super appreciate it. Thank you for everybody in the comments. I appreciate all of you guys. Again, if you guys enjoyed this conversation, consider turning on the post notifications for the next time I go on. And I am also trying to amplify my podcast. So if you guys are interested in just listening whenever you guys are doing homework or cleaning in the background or your auntie's yelling at you, go ahead and check me out at the Social Progress Podcast on Spotify and Anchor. Yes, sending love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys, until we meet again, if anybody knows anybody who has a testimony that they would like to share, if anybody has any awareness that you guys are doing, if anybody has a business with the culture and would like to share the message, Puffle Butt DM me and we'll get this thing going.
Thank you, everyone.
Sending you love. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk again, Ange. I want to continue to hold the conversation. Again, if anybody wants to continue, Puffle Butt, let's add each other and keep the conversation going.
Okay.